From the deepest, darkest recesses of Dangerous Nerds headquarters, Keith Moncrief and Gary Kissel.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Pop Culture Minefield. That's Keith down there, and that's Brittany over here. And we're here to talk about some nerdy nerd stuff. And it's important to always get that third nerd in there. Don't just say nerdy nerd stuff. It's nerdy nerd stuff. Now, today's a special day because, well, I'll pop it up on screen. Bam. We got somebody special here, Phil Morris. So we're going to bring him on. Ladies and gentlemen, Phil Morris.
Woo! Hey, guys.
Now, before we start this interview, I'm going to tell the story of how I freaking met you.
Okay.
We're both at Planet Comic-Con. I am catty corner from you. You're down closer to the concessions. I'm down next to Phil, my buddy, comic book artist, Steve. God, I'm losing my freaking names.
I have here.
Yeah, I brain fart all the time. And I'm over here by the comic book artists, and I have people who love my artwork, and they come and they just gather around my table. And I gave these two ladies a deal. I said, I will sign 2 pieces of artwork to you, for both, one for each of you, whatever you want, if you go down and fuck with Phil. And they're like, well, what do you want us to do? I said, I want you to go down there, and I want you to tell him how big a fan of his you are, but start naming films and TV shows he was never in. Like Denzel Washington, I don't care, Will Smith, just throw it in there and just fuck with him. And I video recorded the whole thing, and I was so pissed later. It was so loud, the cacophony of voices, and you couldn't hear anything going on at your table, and I was so pissed. And finally, I saw them point down at me, and you looked at me, and I went, and you were like,
Well, I think you remember that. I think what happened was they kept saying those movies to me, and I keep saying, no, that's not me, that's Denzel. That's Will Smith. No, that's not me. That's the other black guy. That's the other guy. That's the other guy. So yeah, we had good fun with it. And like I told you, Gary, I go to these cons to enjoy myself. I don't go to do anything else but share this love of this genre stuff, this nerdy stuff that we all love. I've been collecting comic books since I was 6 years old. You know, I've still got the same I got when I was 6 years old, 1966, whatever. So I love it, and I love them. And so anytime they come to me with strange questions, weird stuff, there's nothing weird about it. We're all weird. So
we're all nerds. I think it's great to geek out. And this, of course, is a perfect segue for Keith to ask his questions, because we're going to start talking about Phil's favorite comics, films, and TV.
Sure.
So go ahead, Keith.
Well, I was just going to ask, what was your first comic? What was the one that really kicked it off for you?
In 1966, I was in a Cleveland drugstore with my grandmother and my sister Iona. We bought
Cleveland,
Ohio. That's where my dad's from. So I bought.
Keith is from there too. So
Tales of Suspense, Cleveland strong, baby. Tales of Suspense with Iron Man and Captain America, and Journey into Mystery featuring Thor. And I ended up taking those back to LA. And you remember where? Maybe you don't, because I'm much older than you guys. But we used to sell.
You and I are the same age, brother.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We old. Okay, yeah. You used to sell flower seeds, right? You sell flower seeds either to get the money to buy a bike or a drum set or an amp or a guitar. Remember that?
Yeah.
I bought more comic books. So I sell those flower seeds, and I literally would get like $30, $40, which in 1966, for a 7-year-old, that's a lot of scratch. And I would buy these comic books from Robert Bell from Hauppauge, New York, Howard Rogowski, who lived in New York, I believe. And so I'd get hundreds of comic books at the age of 7. And they were all sequential. Journey into Mystery, Tales of Suspense.
Wow.
And I have every single one of those issues in my library as we speak.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I love them.
Wow.
I got rid of girls before I got rid of them.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Have you managed over the years in going to conventions to get a lot of these books signed by many of the professionals that you would end up meeting? And
I have, but I'm more of an in the moment guy. I'm not big on like take a selfie or can I have your autograph. I just want to meet you. When I met Neil Adams, it was like meeting, Moses to me, because I have seminal books that he wrote, the Green Arrow, Green Lantern books, and that whole time in our comic book history where social relevance meant something. I mean, those were massive issues. So yes, I did have them with me, but I didn't care if he signed them. I just wanted to talk to him. And I was fortunate enough to visit his studio in New York City with a friend of mine, and that was just another world completely. So you meet those people. You work with a guy like Bruce Timm. I'm eternally humbled, so I don't need their autographs. I have a lot of autographs. I got Frank Miller and Jack Kirby and people like that, Joe Quesada, and some really, really good artists. But
okay. Look at Brittany's face light up while you're talking. It's fun.
I got a funny story for you. We can talk forever. I got a great story for you. So when Image started, and Rob Liefeld was at Golden Apple Comics for the unveiling of, I think it was Youngblood. And I wanted to get my son into comics. He was very young at the time. So I figured, okay, I just gotten back from Australia, having done New Mission Impossible. I'm going to go to this comic book store. I'll stand in line. I know the Golden Apple people. They're cool, blah, blah, blah. So I stand in line, and they were going to shut it down. And I told the owner, I said, you can't shut it down. These people have been waiting. And he looks at me and goes, all right, for you, I won't shut it down. So I go inside, and I walk in the door, and Rob looks at me, and he's like, dude, come here. And he jumped the line, and he gives me all these books that he signed. Now, that's a cool story. But the other day, I'm watching that whole documentary on Image. You've seen that documentary on Image?
Yeah.
And they're showing that night. And they have a screen grab of me with Rob
shit,
Liefeld
really?
getting the autographs of those books.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I've always felt bad for Rob because I know a lot of nerds, and I also know a lot of industry insiders, and my God, the vitriol towards him over his anatomy issues and feet, and I'm like, my God, though, the guy brought so much good stuff into comics,
And they just
like,
focus on the bad.
Oh no, it's people.
Right.
It's Schadenfreude, man.
Deadpool, anybody?
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
Because Deadpool existed before Rob, but Rob made him the Deadpool that we love.
That Cable, anyone?
Yeah, Cable.
Anyone? Bishop, anyone?
Amen.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
just saying, know your history. These cats are super talented, right? There's so many options out there in writing and artistry, as Gary, you know. You don't like that? Change the channel. Go to somebody else. Don't hate on these people. These people are expressing things. You have one scintilla of the talent that they do.
Yeah,
Back
I agree.
off.
It's sort of like it's like everything that we approach because like you wouldn't know this, but Keith is the most liberal person in my friend circle. While I am like Midwest conservative, former Army, but we've never argued, not once. We don't agree on things, but we have never argued because we respect each other's opinions.
Yeah.
And that's part of why we do this show. It's not just because I'm a white guy and he's a cool black dude. It's
what? What?
You're white? Oh my God.
I'm cuckoidal.
And that's when Keith's like, I've been colorblind. Like,
yeah,
this is a huge.
I was raised that way. I grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia. I got there right after the shit went down with the Titans. Remember the Titans movie?
Yeah.
They were one of our competitors, that team, and I had never met a black person until I was 8 years old, moving to Fredericksburg, Virginia, and it was a baptism of fire. I lived in the black community, and as Vic Armstrong has said many a times, I was an adopted member of the black community because
good for you.
I lived there.
They raised you right, Gary.
We were poor. We were dirt poor when we got there. My dad couldn't find a job, and this woman that lived next door says, "Oh no, honey, that boy and you ain't going hungry. You come in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and if you need a snack, you come over anytime." And that's what we did. We survived because of our neighbors, and so I didn't experience disharmony with race until I was in the Army.
Right.
Now, which was weird.
But this
because
brings us to what? Where are we going with this?
What was it like growing up in the 60s and experiencing that first real serious movement towards the civil rights?
Well, I was uniquely placed because of my father, quite frankly. My father,
Right.
Greg, who was in the original Mission Impossible from 66 to 73. He and Bill Cosby were the first African-American actors to star in a national network television show. Bill was more of a comedian. My father was straight down the middle, no chaser. As Keith will tell you, men from Cleveland tend to be. Um, so being a part of that movement is one thing. Living in the household where there was somebody groundbreaking every single day of his life, and you're growing up in that house, is a whole other thing. My grandmother, who I bought those comic books with in Cleveland, was the executive secretary of a man named A. Philip Randolph. A. Philip Randolph was the first man to unionize black laborers. They were the Union of Sleeping Car Porters. So my history with the civil rights goes deep, way deeper than me just being an African American. It goes as deep as my family being involved in it from the jump. My father suffering the slings and arrows of being the first African American male to crack it in the drama field. And so, yeah, man, my head is on a swivel, my eyes are wide open all the time. And I can take nothing for granted. And I don't think that we're further away or I just see we are who we are as Americans. And the more we understand that and we accept where we are and where we're going, the better we're all going to be.
Amen to that, man.
You're
Amen. Here. And I just showed some pictures of you and your dad, and also with I think your sister in the photo too.
Yeah.
And but what was that like growing up in that household?
It was amazing. It was a true blessing. My sister and I talk about it all the time. I mean, we had, when we were obviously very young, my father wasn't successful, so we saw him struggle. We saw him working 2 jobs, working in a liquor store, working in a pool hall, doing whatever he could to help us,
pay bills.
Survive.
Yep.
And then when he cracked it, man, it was like nothing else that had ever happened before. I mean, he really was one of the first. And it was the #1 show on television for many, many years. So many shows that came after copied that, team-oriented espionage. Everybody has a debt. They owe a debt to that show in a lot of ways. And so it was a really unbelievable existence. When we went to Paramount Studios, there were no guards. There were no hot sets. We were stealing, golf carts way before Laverne and Shirley. I was going on the set of Star Trek and sitting in Captain Kirk's chair and raising up papier-mâché rocks and opening up the doors and going on the landscape. It was like Disneyland for me. I mean, it's why I do what I do. There's no mystery. It's why I'm an actor. It's why I make the comic books.
Yeah, and you got your first taste.
Clouds,
Your first taste was in '66 when you got to do this scene from Miri on Star Trek. That's you in the Army helmet.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? And were you already a Star Trek fan?
No, I had zero idea about what we were doing. Look at that face. I have no clue. How that happened was casting wanted young actors. They wanted children, but they didn't want actors. They wanted children who knew how to handle themselves on a set. Who better than other actors' children?
Yeah.
So we did it. My sister Iona's in there. William Shatner's kids are in there.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, so we all knew when to shut up when they said action, or when the red light was on, but we didn't know, we weren't jaded like child actors, so we responded organically like real children. There's a scene in this Miri where one of the crazy, infirm, diseased grown-ups runs through the schoolroom, and she's scarier than hell. And they didn't tell us it was going to happen.
Oh.
Right after lunch, she ran through. I'm telling you, you watch that scene. I was scared to death. I had zero clue what was going on. Real reactions, real actual reactions. So, yeah, started me on my road.
So after the show aired, did you become a fan of Star Trek?
I was an athlete, sports guy, comic book guy. Star Trek wasn't really my thing. It was my sister Iona. My sister Iona was a big Trekkie, to be honest with you. And I've never really been a Trekkie. I love working on the show, and I appreciate the moral dilemmas of every episode that I do. And I think it helps me not to be a Trekkie, because like doing Seinfeld. If I was a big fan of Seinfeld, you go on Seinfeld, you're going to say like, oh, there's Jerry. Oh, there's Kramer. Oh, I mean Michael Richards. Hi. If you inhibit yourself and you blunt your own power, right?
Yeah.
When you're that place. So for me, it was kind of good that I haven't been a real Trekkie. I honor it, but it's not my milieu.
Yeah.
You know?
All
So,
right.
well, then after
Awesome.
that, you got to actually play your dad's son on
Yeah.
the. It wasn't a reboot. It was really more of a sequel series back in 1986. Lasted 2 seasons, as I recall, because I
Right.
watched all of the episodes, and I thought that was cool. That's when I became a fan of yours. Was
Oh,
1986.
thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
Me too.
Yeah, it was surreal. Again, you look at my.
I wasn't born yet.
My what?
They said
she wasn't born yet.
I was born in '86. My bad.
She was just a glint in her daddy's eyes.
Protoplasm. Who would have thought?
It's all right.
It was 1988 anyway, so you were 2 years old, Britt. 88 to 91 is when we did the show. And it was surreal, again, for me. Here I am, an actor. There was a writer's strike in Hollywood. They couldn't write not one word of new dialogue or plot, nothing. So what shows could be converted into the modern idiom that could stand the test of time? Mission Impossible was one of them. So they decided to do Mission Impossible, and they couldn't change a word of dialogue. They couldn't change any character. So I auditioned for my dad's character, Barney Collier, and I got the role as Barney Collier, my dad's character. But when the writer's strike ended, now they could change the names. And then they changed mine to Grant Collier, the son of, which I was the son of that guy. And that I would be an actor, that I would be the age, that this would come out at that time, that I would get the part that, what? It was just bananas. A surreal, beautiful blessing of an experience. I loved it.
What'd your pop think of it?
He would always call me and say, "Son, you did a good job, but our show is better." We would never have done that, son. You see, and that would never have happened. Dad was rough, man. Rough.
Was he I mean, I'm assuming he was very supportive of what you did, but I'm also assuming as a good dad that he was also a good critic of your work to help you get better.
Yeah, yes, very well said, Gary. He was very, very objective, and for me that was very supportive because I needed somebody to be straight with me. I mean, this is a very, very tough business, and you can be encouraged to death, right? So,
right.
And he had already gone through all that, like I said. So, and he didn't want me to lie to myself or to see this business in behind rose-colored glasses to the point that it would be to my detriment. And I think he did a great job because I've been very real about this business, and I try and stay as healthy as I can about the possibilities and then the downfalls of this business. So he was very real.
Yeah, it's a lot of people don't expect it because I work in the film industry, but I do it in a very peripheral way. I had my experience of going to LA, and I was like, yeah, same for me. I'm too much of an introvert, and I just don't want to be involved with this. So I do what I do. I telecommute, and I'm happy doing the artwork and shit like that. And but if you are not psychologically healthy, it has a huge impact. And we've seen a lot of actors and actresses. Well, I refer to females as actors too. Actors who have suffered to the psychological impacts of working in the Hollywood career. What was the roughest time for you?
I think the roughest time for me, I did The Young and the Restless for 2 years, and the roughest time for me was as a young actor who felt that the world really was my oyster, to understand that it had segments in it. It's like you couldn't control the level of success you were going to achieve. It was really predicated on executives and studio heads and producers, and that was hard for me. I just wanted to be me and do my thing. It's like on Young and the Restless, I just wanted to be the guy, and they wanted to put me in a box, and it was really difficult for me. And as a young man, I was like, I ain't a company dude. I'm an artist. I'm out of here. So I had a 3-year deal, and I rolled out after 2, and right after that was the hardest because I was banging on Young and the Restless. #1 show. A lot of my boys had enemies.
And while we're talking about that, let's go ahead, because I've already got it on the screen there. Going under the white makeup to take down the mob on the show.
Right.
That was pretty cutting edge.
Beyond cutting edge, you know. And I didn't, you know, not everybody dug it. You know, I was getting mail from other actors and actresses. What are you doing? I would never do that. You know, and I was like, hey, you know, a bunch of white cats in England played Othello. What the hell are you guys talking about? So get off of
So
me.
you did,
Not
you had a lot of people like messaging you about it,
you.
like a negative.
Yeah.
Were
Well,
they
yeah,
fellow actors or just people you knew?
yeah, they're fellow actors, fellow
Wow.
artists, and you know, they felt like I had sold out a little bit. I honestly didn't care about that at all. I thought it was an amazing adventure for me, a journey that I took willingly. I'm strong in it because so what they say didn't really matter to me at all. I mean, I heard it. I
Yeah,
understood
it's
the
you
point
that
of it.
has to live with you. And if you're
Yeah,
comfortable with what you're doing, that's all that's important.
yeah, I was good with it. But when you asked me the toughest time was after I left that show, and then I struggled a little bit. I didn't really catch on to something right away. And when you're a young actor, you're like, man, I want it now. How come I just was banging on this show? How come it's not continuing? That was my first taste of the biorhythms of the business, right? And
Right.
so if you can ride that wild bronco and not go crazy, you probably will succeed if you have talent, you know. And so it taught me a lot. You know, it was good for me. It was really good for me.
It's
I
so
do.
cool to see that you have such a positive attitude. Like, I don't know, like it just seems like you have such a great attitude
Thank
and
you.
like an understanding of like the
Well,
business and what you do, which it's really nice to hear.
well, I love it. I mean, look what we're talking about. Look what I'm wearing. Look what we're here to do.
Yeah.
I keep that
Kudos to what you're wearing. It's
right.
amazing.
Thank you. In the forefront of my mind all the time. You know how many people would love to do this? They'd love to be able to play and talk and do funny voices behind a mic or get dressed up in costume and go out and, you know, do Doom Patrol or I mean, you know, there's so much that I do that's just a blessing. So many times I drive home in my car. I'm telling you, and I'm just like pinging. I'm pinging. I'm like, whoa! I worked with these amazing people. I'm getting paid. I have this incredible life, and so I get it, Britt, and yeah, I keep it firmly attached to me. I do a seminar called Phil Morris Gives You the Business, and it's about the road. It's not an acting class. It's not a casting workshop. It's about the road that we journey on as an actor and things that I went through that I wish people would have given me a heads up about before I got there. You know, and so
Right.
I
Yeah.
try to give people a heads up before you get there. Don't take yourself too seriously. Honor everybody that you meet. What do you do when you go to your first job? What do you do when you go to your first audition? How do you feel? What do you know what I mean? These things that until you're doing it, you don't know. So I try and give people the benefit of my experience. And the best lessons I can give them are the mistakes that I made. And the benefit of the lessons that I made off the mistakes that I made. So
And
I'm
it's something that you know well because that's the same thing you do as a parent.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I have two amazing kids. So
And you brought up Doom Patrol. Can I ask
yeah,
you a question?
sure.
So we talked briefly for like a tiny second.
Blip.
Like, and I said how much I loved your shirt because I happen to be a huge Smallville fan. So like I know you've done like Doom Patrol, Smallville, you've done voices for, Justice League, you've done Teen Titans Go, you've done a lot of stuff like that. So my question is, out of the things you've done, whether it's, voice acting or actually doing the live action stuff, has been your favorite out of those characters, or is there someone that you really wish you could have done that you haven't got to do yet? My personal favorite's Martian, but that's just because I'm a big Smallville fan. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious of your thoughts since you're such a huge like comic book fan.
Um, a lot of questions in there, but I'll try and get
Yeah,
them out.
sorry. I've been
Okay.
really excited. I've been like waiting.
She's still new to the show,
It's all
so
good.
she
It's
just
all good.
piles it in there.
Well,
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, just making sure.
I'll wait on my favorite one to last, but the one I wished that I could have done more with was Miles Dyson in the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Yes.
I got cast as
Yeah.
Miles Dyson. In fact, I shot a scene.
I enjoyed that show.
I did
Yeah,
too.
super good show.
It was
Great.
solid.
Oh my God, I loved it. And Lena Headey was amazing in it. And I did a scene with her that they ended up cutting out because they thought it was like a dream sequence for her. They thought that if they showed Miles Dyson that everybody knew had died in Terminator 2, that it would confuse the audience. But I thought it was a wonderful device, as like Miles Dyson was her her conscience, like her Jiminy Cricket. And I just love the way they rolled it out. I wish I could have extrapolated that and gone further with that. I absolutely wish we could have done more Mission Impossibles, honestly. I really do. I think we were just hitting our stride with that.
Yeah, it really sucks when that happens too. Right when you're really getting the show's catching on, and then they go, well, not enough numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a business at the end of the day. So I follow that trend. Martian Manhunter is probably my favorite on-camera hero that I've played.
And you were the first live-action Martian Manhunter, as I recall.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And
you were fabulous, by the way. You did a great job. It was
I thought
amazing.
you were okay.
I thought you were fabulous. Don't listen to that guy.
That's okay. Gary keeps me straight. And animation, Vandal Savage for Justice League is my favorite character to play anywhere. This dude is a smooth criminal. I mean, the cat is so bad he bores himself. He's got to take over Europe. You know what I mean? He's just so tired of himself.
See that face over there on Keith? He's having a nerdgasm right now.
I love it. I love Vandal.
He loves that so much. He loves that character. He loves that show.
I love that entire show. I thought the best comic book series really was Justice League Unlimited, because you could go so many different places with it. You had so many characters to pick from, and it gave so many actors an opportunity to be able to join with the original actors from the original Justice League, to be able to just expand everything and just have different sorts of. I mean, for me, it was watching episodes that would have, of course, Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman, but with Green Arrow and Black Canary,
Hawkman, Hawkgirl,
and Hawkman and Hawkgirl. It was literally like a comic book come to life. And wow.
And I wish some of the other live action shows that are on the CW were as good as those. But we do have that show that you're on. That is the one live action show that I think is really good, which is, of course,
Do
Doom
you really,
Patrol.
Gary? Tell me straight. Tell me true. Tell me true. Now.
But you've read my review.
I have.
I love that show. I thought you're great. I wish you were in there more. I just think that every time you're on screen, you give the show even more legitimacy. You and Timothy Dalton.
Yes.
Timothy Dalton.
Yeah, what is that like acting with Timothy Dalton? I mean,
Dude,
the guy was James Bond for 2 films.
Like getting in a warm bath. You're like, good. This dude is here.
Man.
I look at him, look back. It's like, this dude's got it, man. I have so many stories about that show. I love that show so much. Every script that I get, I like, what are they going to put these people through this? Oh my God, what are we going to be getting through this time? Javan Wade and I have established a beautiful relationship on and off screen. I love that kid. He actually helped me get a job, man. I have this new job that when it comes out, I'll talk to you guys about it. It's massive.
Oh, is this last thing you just worked on a few weeks back?
Yeah, I've been working on it for like 6 months.
Yeah, because I remember you said you were working on something, but you can't talk about it.
I can't talk about it, but I can talk about it, but I can't say what it is. But the character that I use in this, which is the lead character in it, has a British accent, and Javan Wade is British, but he affects an American accent. So I was like, man, how do you hold it? How do you? He goes, well, you just got to go get over being self-conscious and feeling embarrassed. And as soon as he said that, it clicked. And then he actually read the dialogue for me for my audition in his British accent and sent it back to me so that I could kind of, this dude is awesome.
That's amazing, dude.
And I got the gig. And I've been doing the gig for the last 6 months, and it's as big a gig as I've ever done. Ever.
That's awesome.
Now, is this going to be film or for television?
This is a video game.
No shit. Okay.
Massive.
I'm in. I'm all in. All my chips.
Now I've got speculations. Now I'm really excited.
By the way, Phil, here's our micro wolf. It's a micro wolf.
Oh, look at that.
And I'm not gonna lie, like the first time when I was watching Smallville and they like your eyes glow red, like
oh my God,
like,
yeah, that was
out because I'm also from a small southern town in Missouri, and I didn't have a lot of friends that watched comic type shows, or it's like I was a huge Buffy fan in Smallville, and so those were the shows I watched, and I would read comics, and so it's like when I would go to school and I'm like, oh my god, like his eyes flashed red. Do you know what that means? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay. So I just had to like geek out by myself, like, oh my god, nobody's here for me to tell like how great that this moment is, like what this means for the show. And then I go to school and everyone's like, what is that?
What's Smallville?
Yeah, who's Smallville? And I'm like, no,
It's not a person.
it's not a person. That's a place.
Even though Lois did call Clark Smallville.
Lois does. Lois calls him Smallville.
Yeah, I loved that series. I really did until the last, I think, 2 seasons, and then it just kind of leveled out to just boring.
10 years, 26 episodes a year, man.
Oh, it's a lot.
Well, they had problems once Michael Rosen, I can't say that guy's name. When he left the show, it was like I was like, oh.
Yeah.
He came back for the season finale, though.
Michael was amazing. I have stories about him. Britt, you talk about JJ, John Jones. When I first saw my character fly out of the Kent barn, I was in ADR, which is a big sound stage, and you're looking at it. And so I say something to him, and then I fly out. I must have had them run that back for me 20 times.
Fucking total geeking out. Yeah. I totally understand that.
And it's just so cool. Like, I don't know. I think it's awesome. Like, it's my favorite when you find out people are fans that have these roles. You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm probably going to go back and watch every episode of Smallville that you're in, just because it's like, I know that you're a fan, and like, I know like how excited you had to be like, this is who I am today.
Well, audition. I walked into that audition and I could have told those dudes, just go home. I got this dude. I got 17,000 comic books at home, son.
I know this character.
I got this guy.
Like, I actually, like, I keep saying I'm a Smallville fan, but like, to prove it, like, wait, up here, these are actually Smallville autographs up above this.
Oh, in the back there?
Yeah. It's Sam and Black Canary and Doomsday is who it is up there.
Yeah.
Just
do you recognize this? Phil, do you recognize that in the background?
Yeah, that is, what is that? Star Trek? No, what is that, man?
No, Base 1999.
Base 1999, Martin Landau, Barbara Bain.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Two of the Mission Impossible alumni.
OGs.
Yep. And
did you ever get a chance to meet them?
Did I get? Yeah, they were like my Uncle Marty and Uncle Barber, Auntie Barber.
Yeah, I was about to say, there's no freaking way your dad worked on a show you didn't meet them.
Well, I was just asking. I thought I'd ask.
No, I mean, literally, it really is. Yes, I met them many times. And beautiful people. Barbara was at my sister's wedding. My sister's got married a few years ago. She was there. I did actually a diagnosis murder with Barbara Bain, which was weird because she said, Philip, I loved when we worked together. And I'm like, we never worked together. And she goes, yeah, we did. And I was like, yeah, Barbara, I would remember that. And
I would remember.
I was being such a dick. And so the next day I realized we had been on this show called, I guess, Postcards. And I was the bad guy. And I just, for some reason, forgot that we worked together on that show. I had to kind of kowtow to her, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, I know these people well. I know them well. I grew up with them.
Wow.
Yeah, it's sad that we've lost them both now. It's like, just because Martin Landau was like one of my favorite actors growing up. I mean, that guy was in so much cool shit. And
well, when he wound up on X-Files was my favorite, the X-Files movie. I thought he was phenomenal in that film. It was just riveting to see him play that part. And just
every one of those
whatever he did
were super talented. I mean, Stephen Hill, who was the original guy on Mission Impossible,
I was just talking about him today.
Yeah, he was great. He left because he was devoutly religious, and he would not
Orthodox. He was Orthodox Jew,
would
and
not work
he
after
didn't want
sundown.
to work Saturdays
Right. Well, we didn't work after sundown on Fridays.
and
Oh, wow.
or through Saturday. And of course,
Never. They
the
never worked
Mission
the weekend.
Impossible, it was like almost a 7-day-a-week shoot.
Nope. They didn't work on the weekends.
They didn't.
Nope.
Hmm.
Nope. They
So it
might
was
have
just.
so often, but just you would not work after sundown on Friday. And when you're the number one on the call sheet, how's it tough one to pull off for 26 episodes a year?
Mm-hmm.
But back to Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum, real quick. I love that guy. I love him. He's a force of nature. I was flying up to Vancouver to do another show. This is right when Smallville happened, and I had only read about it in the trades. I didn't know who was in it. I didn't know any of the actors. Sitting on a plane, going up to Vancouver. Super live guy sitting next to me. Complete wild, Hey, you gonna eat that? You gonna drink that? You want that? You gonna drink? Can I read your trades? I was like, sure, man. Here you go. He goes, oh yeah. I'm going up there. I got a new show going on. I'm like, really? What's this show? He goes, oh yeah, Smallville. Oh, it's a Superman show. It's a Superman show. I'm going up there. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's great. Well, I'm like a big comic book fan. He goes, yeah, I'm playing Lex Luthor. I'm like, really, Lex Luthor? And he had a full head of hair. I said, isn't Lex bald? He goes, yeah, man, yeah. I don't even know what I look like bald. He's like, shave my head off. And guess what else? I go, what? I get to drive a Porsche.
He's so funny. He's so funny. And I think I'm like the only person in the world that ever watched his show Impastor on TV. Was it TV Land?
Yeah,
I freaking love that show. And
he has
so
a great
sad.
podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he does?
Podcast?
Yeah, he has a podcast that he does. It's really good.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to be checking that out now.
Yeah.
And
it-
the convention circuit. He and Tom are out there doing the convention circuit because they have.
Mhm.
Oh, Tom
Yeah.
Welling?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they've got
Well-
wine. Like they've got
Yeah.
like kind of like good and evil, like
Right.
like a good and evil wine, which I think is cool. And I actually was pretty impressed. He actually came out and said why he didn't do the crossover, which I thought was kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like he just kind of told everybody how it was, and not like in a mean way or in a like trying to undercut anybody way for doing it. I don't know. It made me respect him even that much more for him to be like, hey, like this is what they wanted. This is what I was told, and I didn't feel comfortable. He's like, so hopefully everybody respects it and is not mad at me for it or whatever. But I thought it was kind of cool that he came out and said, I get it.
Right.
Tom and Erica are doing it, but this is why, like, I decided not to do it.
Right.
But because he didn't want to slight the fans, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm again huge Smallville fan, and it's like the only reason why I wanted to watch that episode was to see what they did with them. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of neat that he kind of came out and was like, meh, this is why I'm not doing it.
He's a good dude. I like
Funny.
him a lot.
Hilarious guy.
Yeah, his
Now,
podcast is really funny.
Now I did not watch all of it. I only watched some highlight reels. Did you come back for the CW?
I did not. No.
Mm.
Maybe David Harewood did the Martian Manhunter. I don't know. I was hoping to. I'm always willing to go in and play with them. I love it. Obviously, I love that universe to play in. They asked me to come, I come in. It's like Doom Patrol, I've done more Doom Patrols than I ever thought I would. This is not the Cyborg show. This is Doom Patrol. So I'm eternally grateful whenever they bring me in and honored. So more, please.
Have you worked on the new season?
I have.
I'm not going to ask you any plot points, but just give us a thumbs up if you say, man, this is going to be cool.
I love this season. This season's bomb ass. I mean, last year they set up a lot of stuff, a lot of backstory. This year they pay off a lot of stuff. You'll see some really interesting follow through on these characters.
Yeah, because there was a lot of duality with your character that I was like, wonder where this is going to go.
Right. And I like the way they played it. And I love the final scene with Timothy Dalton. And in fact, I saw Timothy when I went back to do this season, first episode, and I said, hey, Tim. And he turns around, he's like, oh my goodness, the work you did in that final episode. It's so difficult to do that kind of work on television. And to do that kind of work, I'm so proud of you. And he gave me this big bear hug. Come on. I love what
That's
we do.
cool.
Yeah,
This is the
we
same actor whose first role was as Prince John in The Lion in Winter.
Lion when we talked about that. It's a beautiful, beautiful movie.
It's one of my
Beautiful.
favorite films of all time.
Mine
And
too, Gary. Yeah.
Mine
I'm
too.
telling you.
Mine too.
See?
Yes, Keith. Oh, you're a Lion and Winter guy?
Yes, he is. We have talked
Yes,
about it.
he is.
I played Richard in my last professional stage production I did as an actor in a stage production of Lion in Winter. And everybody was like terrified of me because I'm like 6'3" and basically a Sasquatch in armor. And it was just, I scared one lady so badly on one of the shows that her playbill went flying in the air and landed right in front of me on the stage. And I just improvised the line about it. Pick this up. But
Very good.
it's such a great film, and it's a great story.
Amazing.
And but Timothy Dalton was Prince John in that, and he was brilliant in that. As was Anthony Hopkins. It was both their first starring roles in a film.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I really want Doom Patrol in a Titans crossover again.
I do too.
I think it could save Titans because Titans it got hurt this last season. There was a lot of negative criticism for some of that because it was good writing, and then all of a sudden, like it hit a point and it just went downhill. And because that's the biggest thing, Phil, that I criticize with shows is the writing.
Right.
Verisimilitude. Tell a good story. And as a writer friend of mine once said, pick a story that you want to tell somebody that's going to be the last thing you hear before they die. That's the way you tell a story. And I'm like, that's a lot of pressure, but okay.
I think you're going to be impressed with this season's Doom Patrol. It's very, very.
I'm not surprised. I love the writing on there.
It's very true to the books, and certain characters show up that are true to the books, just like they had Flex Mentallo last year. It might not be a bad idea to pepper in Cyborg into Titans every so often.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because he eventually did join them.
Yeah, he was a.
Because Keith and I have talked about that before. Because I was a big Titans fan growing up, and he didn't join until later. He was actually an adult joining them. He was a guardian to watch over them.
Right. So Justice League, they gave him. They're like, go run roughshod over those.
Please keep these kids in line.
Keep them in line, yeah. So yeah, it'd be great to see Titans kind of spruce it up a bit with that. I really like Hawk and Dove. Quite frankly.
I do too.
Oh, ditto.
I like what you're doing with them.
Yeah.
Right, Alan's great as Hawk. And
I love him in Blood Drive. Have you guys seen Blood Drive?
Yes.
No.
You know what?
He's
that's
so
fun.
he's so good in it. I love that show.
Episode of Black Mirror too.
Yes.
Black Mirror with what's her name? Oh, Bryce Dallas Howard. That one.
Yeah. He's solid.
It's the communication social scoring.
Right. He's good.
Really good one. They did that episode, and then right after that, the Orville episode aired. That dealt with the same thing. It was like people were like, Orville stole from them. I'm like, oh, come on, they were in production probably at the same time.
They would never know.
Yeah. But,
it's just so neat that you've played so many iconic characters. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
It's not they were saying earlier that you've just had such an amazing career, and it's just the more we're talking, it's just you're just playing iconic people, that most people would kill to play one character that people saw as iconic, but you have just a whole mess of iconic people that you get to play.
Awesome. It goes back to what I said earlier, where it's I made the joke that in a non-sexual way, you've touched our childhood by playing all these characters through the years, from Star Trek to this, the DC universe, and
it's helped me to be a student of the genre. It absolutely has helped me, because I feel like there's only one person I need to honor in all this, and that's me. There's only one person that I need to keep straight in all this, and that's me. And I'm as fervent about this stuff as you guys are. Maybe not as current about current projects and books and so forth as you are, because I don't frequent bookstores and comic book stores that much anymore. But I've studied these things since I was 6, so I have an innate sense of it. that maybe other people don't bring when they walk into the room as an audition, and I feel it gives me such strength. I love these characters. I love the universe they play in. I love the moral dilemmas. I love the chaos and the confusion and the Achilles heels that all of them have, the fleshy underbelly that they all have. I honor it. So, Britt, I really appreciate that. You know, I hope more to come.
Oh, and
That's the great thing about a lot of this. Comics are really just continual morality plays, played out in different ways with different types of stories. Just to see what DC has done with their characters, what Marvel has done with their characters, what Image continues to do with all their characters, and again, that's what I'm waiting for is a lot more projects from the Image people because they have some incredible properties there, and I think Savage Dragon would make an incredible live action series.
It's the uphill battle of what executives are making decisions that relate to those characters. That's why you see the rollout of the traditional Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern. You know, these are the executives that are like us. But they're not as deep in the weeds. So when a project comes across their desk, oh, Wonder Woman, oh, I love that book when I was you say Savage Dragon, now you have to explain Eric Larson, Image, who Savage Dragon is. One of the reasons I think they put Cyborg in Doom Patrol was that very few people knew anything about Doom Patrol. Even comic book fans were not clear on the team of Doom Patrol, especially as it's gone through its various iterations.
Yeah, I had somebody ask me, is that like some sort of World War II thing? Like Rat Patrol?
Not. But what they knew was the Justice League movie that they just saw with who? Cyborg. So bring Cyborg into this audience identification. Because he did this with Titans, as we all know, to kind of pull their act together. That's his job there, to pull their act together as legitimate heroes. And he's just as fucked up as they are. He's got a dad who doesn't trust. He's turning into an organism more cybernetic than human. You know, he don't know who he is. He's a young man, hasn't really fully lived his life. His mother died because of him. You know, I mean, he fits right into Doom Patrol and those psychotic, psychologically, you know, compromised individuals. But why Cyborg? Because the audience really does identify with him.
Yep.
Well, I'm hoping that they're able to give you an episode where, you know, they can have Silas meet with other other doctors that are pretty popular within the DC Comics mold. And be able to cross over things like, be able to have things like, now I have my brain fart, have things like the Metal Men.
Yes.
Or have things, that'd just be great for me because DC has this really cool history with various scientists. Some are good guys, some are not so good guys, some are play constantly in gray. But I mean, when you think about all those characters and the way they've been portrayed in comics, you could almost do an entire episode, an entire series, and all these famous scientists that have, you know, helped to shape the DC universe and characters.
Right. Well, if they just focused on Star Labs, which I created, and then you have all of the offshoots that Star Labs offers, various heroes and enhancements and whatnot. I would love to see Silas, and I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but I would love to see in the next season Silas come in and upgrade Robot Man.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
You know what I mean? That he finally is going to
have him less Frankenstein.
Yeah, more like we see him now. You know, he's not black glossy, he's cool looking. They upgraded him in the comics. It'd be great if Silas kind of popped in and was like, "All right, shut up, get on the table."
How did you feel about Silas Stone before ever playing him?
How do I feel about him?
Before you ever played him in the comics and all that, what was your opinion of his character?
Shady. Oh, shady. I didn't trust him. I didn't think he was being forthright with Vic at all. Now we're talking. I'm an actor. There's a process for actors to try and meld, right, their own person with this guy. I am not like Silas Stone. I am a warm and fuzzy father. I've played sports with my kids. I understand. I left their games. Blah, blah, blah. That ain't Silas. But why? I didn't know really why. I read it in the books, but I didn't know intellectually and spiritually why. So the woman who plays my wife in the show, lives in Atlanta, which is where we shoot the show. She happens to be, ironically enough, I did not know, she is my best friend's first cousin. I knew she was my best friend's first cousin. I just didn't know she was playing my wife until I got to Atlanta. So I get to Atlanta and I call her. I'm like, let's hang out. Let's go to dinner. Boom, boom, boom. She goes, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm doing this show. I couldn't tell her because it was NDA, right? And she's like, well, what show are you going to do? And I said, well, okay, we're talking here. So I'm doing this show called Doom Patrol. And silence. She goes, boy, I'm going to mess you up. But she didn't say mess. She goes, I'm going to F you up. I'm like, why? I'm playing your wife. I'm like, what? You're playing my wife? So long ass story shorter, we do an improv in her kitchen. I need to know about our relationship. I need to know about what's going on. I can't just take for granted that it says so in the script because it says so, that's how I feel. I have to feel it. So I'm talking to her in her kitchen. We're doing this improv, and I'm talking to my dead wife. Okay? And she's asking me to protect Vic. You've got to protect him. This is actually happening in her kitchen. And I say to her, I am. You don't understand. These threats are intergalactic. They're universal. I've never seen anything like this. You don't know. You're not here. I'm doing the best I can. She says this to me in her kitchen. Then be better.
Oof.
And right then, I'm getting hackles. Now, I start crying, sobbing as Silas. So what I realized was no one needs to know my intention or my process. I am doing everything for my dead wife. I am trying to keep him safe. I'm trying to keep him secure. I'm trying to keep him whole. And he doesn't have to fucking think a thing about it. It ain't up to him. It's up to this woman that I have promised to keep you alive to. And that creates a distance that even though it's a beautiful thing, that's a segment. He's compartmentalizing his son. And so it creates this cold distance. And so that's how I see Silas. I see him as more, before outside, I judged him out. I judged him perfectly. Mm-hmm. Now being in his skin, I understand why he's distant. I understand it. And it makes a better performance. It makes a better character. And I hope that's what comes across.
I got to tell you, it's really good, yeah. Phil. You and Timothy Dalton, and don't get me wrong, I love Brendan Fraser doing the voice of
Isn't that great?
I love it. But absolutely, you and Dalton steal the show. I mean, in my opinion, and I'm sure these guys agree with me, that scene where he thought he killed you, I was blubbering. Yeah. Big old military bear of a fucking human being. Just look at me, killed his dad.
King Richard breaks down.
Yeah.
Wow.
But well, we're fans. We're fans, and I mean, yeah, we're friends. But I'm also still a fan. I'm fan of my boss. I work for Dale. I work for Dale Dye, and I woke up in just the shittiest mood like 2 years ago. And all of a sudden, the shitty mood went away, and I wrote on my Facebook page, I said, I was just having a rough time, a rough day. And then I reminded myself that I fucking work and know Dale Dye on a personal basis. I talk to him and his wife every day. And then his wife writes on my page, and she says, and Dale Dye knows and loves you. And I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm never going to have another bad day. I haven't had a bad day since.
Nice.
Because I know some of the coolest people, and
I'm saying,
and you do the same thing. I know because you geeked out over Layfeld, and totally. I did it over Bernie Wrightson. God rest his soul. I love that guy. I actually shared a table right next to him at Comic Palooza down in Texas, and it was hard to keep my composure. I'm there for IDW to sell my graphic novel. And I keep looking over at him, and finally I just said, "Oh my God, the first comic book I ever bought with my own money was the Batman Swamp Thing crossover in 1972. And it was also the first comic book post the comic code to have a curse word in it. Batman says, damn.
Damn.
And I bought that comic and had it for years, and I got him to sign it. Thanks to a friend of mine, actually, because I couldn't leave the table to do it. He went over and got him to sign it for me. And of course, it was stolen. Yeah.
He drew the creepiest Swamp Thing. He drew the creepiest Swamp Thing.
I loved his Swamp Thing. And I know that when they made that 1980 something movie, what's his name? Wes Craven.
Yeah.
That's the Swamp Thing he was trying to replicate.
Right.
It didn't work, but it really, I love the fact that he tried to make it look like Bernie Wrightson's Swamp Thing, not the one that was in Alan Moore.
We did Atlantis, the movie Atlantis, the for Disney.
Lost Empire.
The Lost Empire, but it was based on Mike Mignola's drawings and his creature conception.
Wow.
So I got a chance to meet Mike. He actually lives here in the South Bay. He's one of my neighbors. But yeah, man, there's so many people, you know, Gary, like you, who are so talented, and we are so pleased and thrilled to have your talent applied to our favorite genre. Yeah, I'm fans of you guys. You've made my world come alive.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I know so many people in the industry, and I had my chance to work for Marvel, and it just didn't happen because of somebody not liking somebody else, and that affected me. And it had nothing to do with me, but because I'm associated with that person, they wouldn't hire me.
It happens.
Yeah. And I'm like, really? But look, I'm a dick. I admit it. At least not hire me because I'm a dick. Because then
somebody else is.
Somebody else you don't like. Why is that me? Judge me as a dick. Don't you know? Because I am a dick. You experienced that when we met.
You're hilarious, dude. You're hilarious.
So what's going on now? What are you doing now?
Well,
other than staying healthy, I hope, and social distancing.
Hunkering down and respecting everybody, you know, giving everybody a wide berth. I mean, however you feel about this is how you feel about it. But I feel a certain way. That's my feeling. I respect what you want 10 feet around you. Do the 10 feet thing. You know, if you think it's a hoax, I don't agree with you, but okay, then that's your thing. You know, I know that the only thing I can control is my behavior.
Yeah, this is definitely, anybody who thinks this is a hoax is out of their mind. It's a real thing. How dangerous it is, we don't know yet.
No,
but I know that because sure, the fatalities are much higher with just regular influenza. But the fact is who's being targeted by this is the scary part. Yeah, exactly. And that's people over 55 and diabetics, which I'm a diabetic, and asthmatics. I'm an asthmatic. So I'm social distancing like hell.
It's a smart thing to do, you know, and what I am doing is home workouts. Sometimes I'll post them on Instagram Live, sometimes on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I watched a couple of those, and I'm like, fuck you.
Trying
fuck
to get
you,
there.
Phil.
I'm terrible. Yeah, I know, right? Thanks, Gary. That's actually a compliment. And I go to the gym, but my gym is closed, and I don't have weights. I don't have a personal gym at home, so I'm doing grocery bags and dog bags, and, you know, I'm using household items and showing everybody I'm just like you. You know, I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm just trying to stay in shape like everybody else. And if I can do it, you can do it. Come on now. And I was really fortunate. Right up into the time this all kind of went down, I was working. So I got back from Atlanta doing Doom Patrol like the week before everything shut down. So I worked right up to that point, and I'm very fortunate. So I got money coming in. I got the product that's in the pipeline, and for an actor, that's amazing. And as an actor,
now,
downtime.
You know, having had so many jobs that have allowed you to work in animation, do you have your own home studio, or do you go to a studio to record your vocals?
I have an audition setup. I wouldn't call it a studio. Right now I'm in my office right now, and I just pull out my computer and
the one that you are just really savvy about using.
Really savvy about. Then I have an interface, and I know Keith's like, really? I have an interface that I use, and I have plugged in some really nice Shure mics, and I audition from here, and I've also plugged in jobs from here, but I don't really work from here. I work from a studio, and if they're doing a phone patch or something like that, the engineer knows what he's doing way better than I do, obviously.
Well, I'm really engaged with your career because, like I said, I've been a fan since well, the early days, and it's really cool seeing where you're going, and I'm curious where you are headed next. I mean, you're done with the new season of Doom Patrol.
Mhm.
What's on the horizon? Anything you can talk about?
Well, everything in my business is shut down, so all the things that I was up for and stuff, they're pending. So I don't even like to talk about those because everything's pending. Um, a lot of the things I do because I do a lot of genre work or NDA closed, so I can't speak on those things until they come
Yeah.
out. The Spider-Man game.
I get the same thing. I'm not allowed to talk about things. It's weird. You want to. It's like I gotta tell somebody, and you can't tell anybody.
Oh, good. I'm in the new series hashtag Black AF, Black as Fuck, with Kenya Barris. So he's got a new show on Netflix called hashtag Black as Fuck, and I play his dad. You know.
Okay, what's his character like?
He's a smooth cat. I always play a smooth cat. You know, he's a smooth cat who likes the ladies, and he's divorced from the mom, but we're still like see each other. We can't stand each other, but we still like see each other at functions and stuff. Mike Epps plays the uncle, plays my brother.
Oh, Mike Epps, nice.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. KJ Smith plays my my lover, my girlfriend, and she's beautiful on Sisters. And it's just fun. It's a really improvisational show. So they have things they want us to kind of say or places they want us to get to, but it's very much like Curb Your Enthusiasm. They give us a suggestion, they set us up, and then we have at it. And they do take after take, and we just riff and do things that are completely outside the box, and I love it. So that's coming on real quick.
Well, I am going to post real quick on the screen here the most amusing thing that I saw about you on IMDb.
Is that my trademark?
Smooth voice.
That is what the smooth, deep voice.
It's not really that deep. It's not as deep as some of them brothers. Some of them brothers like,
It's like what am I?
Keith, like Keith. His laugh is even.
Yeah, we found out that because I'm usually taller than everybody in my life, and Keith is actually as tall as me.
What?
Yeah, we're like all the years we've known each other, I'd never noticed that because I'm used to seeing the tops of people's heads.
Right.
Like I'm friends with Bruce Campbell, and the first time I met him, I felt so bizarre looking at the top of his head. I'm like, this is just really weird for me.
I don't ever have that problem.
Yeah, because she's a munchkin. She's like my girlfriend, just tiny.
I'm 5'3".
Looking up at the world.
Pretty much. Using step stools.
But Keith is a tall motherfucker right here, and I like it. I like it when I meet people that are my height because I'm so used to having my head tilted down that I get to look straight across at somebody or up. I'm like ecstatic over people taller than me. It's a bizarre thing with me. I can't stop talking about it when I meet somebody taller than me. It's like, oh my God, you're bigger than me.
And for me, that's 90% of the world for me.
I have to say, it's part of the oddness of my life because there are many odd things that have allowed me to be kind of like just out of step with the norm. Being who I am, a man of color, being a nerd, being a twin, being, I'm just used to it now. I'm just used to it. That's all I can do is just like, yeah, I'll roll with that.
Yeah. I know the feeling.
I was lucky enough to at least have someone that I could nerd out with. So my brother and I, it was always just easier to talk to him, and we didn't even have to do complete sentences. So for us,
you guys were both interested in the same stuff, the same nerdy stuff.
Yeah. We for many years it was pretty much just two bodies, one brain, and I think we freaked our parents out a lot with how we would talk sometimes. But even just, we would even click into the same thing to give people shit. You know, I mean, we'd show up at people's random parties sometimes, and we have a whole routine. It's like, hey, look, it's time that you invited the brothers, so you let us in.
Get the Moncrief. What?
Just let us in. And so one of us would, the person whose party it was, we'd find the person whose party it was, put our arm around us, like, hey man, don't worry, we're not here to mess up anything of what you got. And the other one is like, hey man, how much is this worth?
Where'd you get this?
Oh my God! And becoming friends with him, I met him at a convention. I fell in love with Keith, a bromance. I'm like, you're fucking cool, dude. I got to make this guy my friend. It's like, hey, will you be friends with me even though I'm a big stupid white guy? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Keith, did I meet you at a con?
No, we met at a film meeting.
Yeah, it's where I met.
Is that where I first met both of you?
Yeah. Well, no, you met him at another meeting before me.
Yeah,
you met. Okay. I was going to say, I knew you at that meeting.
We were all part of the Missouri Film Alliance, and I think we all walked away from it because they've got their heads up their asses and don't know what they're doing, and we're like, fuck you guys.
Might have to film there. I can say that.
Well, they're trying to bring back the tax credits in Missouri.
We're trying so hard. We're trying. Everybody's trying.
Because Keith and I actually talked to the state representative people, trying to get them to get their heads out of their asses. It's like Governor Nixon just fucked it off, and the Louisiana, the tax package that they have for filmmaking is our tax package. They borrowed our tax package from Missouri to make their own.
The last
few
movies filmed in Missouri, were nominated for Oscars. So why they thought it was a bad idea, I'll never know.
Movies like The St. Louis Story. I mean, that's 1937. So it's been a long time.
Well,
I'm like kidding.
And Up in the Air was filmed. They filmed most of Up in the Air in St. Louis. Winter's Bone. Gone Girl.
Yeah, I worked on Winter's Bone, and so did Shelley. So
yeah, Shelley worked on Winter's Bone.
I worked on those stupid Sci-Fi Channel movies that shot here.
Sharknado.
Not on that one. I worked on Mosquito one. Mansquito. I worked on that stupid film, and I'm friends with people that work on. They're like, hey Gary, we need some help. Could you just show up? I mean, there's even a scene in a sci-fi film where my fucking car is in the movie, just sitting there. It's a piece of shit Ford. And I'm like, oh, God damn it, my car's in the movie.
Actually, I you know what? I worked on a sci-fi channel film myself.
Which one?
Hey, if they said, hey, we need you to write a sci-fi original movie, I would definitely write it. If they said, "Hey, we need you to direct it," sign me up. If you're getting paid and you're fine with whatever it is.
That's because you're younger. You're not in your 50s like us, and we're like, you know what? No, I don't need the headache. I've turned jobs down. Which I want to tell you, Phil, one of the funniest moments was Valentine's last year for me. I went to bed the night before Valentine's Eve, and when I woke up on Valentine's Eve, I had storyboarded this World War II movie for Dale Dye. And when I woke up that morning on Valentine's Eve, I found out I was working for Tom Hanks. And I went, okay. So I posted a little on Facebook. I'm working for Tom Hanks. I spend the rest of the day fucking around, doing the shit that I normally do. Then I go to bed. I woke up the next morning just like this. I was like, I work for Tom Hanks. I really did that. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning going, oh my God. That changes my portfolio and resume, everything. Holy shit. Yeah, it took 24 hours and it finally hit me. And I'm like, oh my God. And here's the funny thing. I don't write anything about it on my portfolio or in my resume. I'm an idiot.
Why not?
I'm an idiot. I keep forgetting to add it.
It's a thing.
It's a
It's
thing.
just a thing.
Yeah. It's Gary's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brain fart all the time, man.
10-hour miniseries I'm working on for Brad Pitt. Oh yeah, I'm working on for Brad Pitt. Yeah.
No big
Yeah.
deal.
Forgot
So,
about that.
how old are your kids now?
They're real people. They're like going concerns. My son is 34. My daughter's 30.
Oh, so you're like me. All your kids are adults.
See ya. They're out. Out
Yeah.
of my pocket.
I
out of
love
my
that.
house.
My daughter left home in 2017. She was the last one out. Both my sons are adults. One served in the military. The other one is an author. All of them are artists, just like me. And all of them are writers, just like me. But my daughter, I raised by myself. And she's the biggest badass in the family. And even my boys know it. They know she's a badass. It's like, yeah, but they're there for her. But she's got, I mean, she left home at 17. I'm ready, Dad. I can do this. I said, I don't want you to leave home. But she's like, no, Dad, I'm ready. Keith knows her. Keith knows my daughter. And she took off and was already a manager within a month of leaving home of her own sandwich shop. David Spade visits the shop she works in.
Very cool. Well, I
Yeah.
like it. I like that she's strong. My daughter's very strong as well. I'd rather have a much stronger daughter and a sensitive son in this
Exactly.
family.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what I've got. And my kids are just phenomenal. They're our best friends. We talk to them every single day.
Yeah.
Hang out. We play sports together. It's just a great look. I really enjoy my kids. They taught me a lot.
Wow.
That's
See,
my
and that's the other part of it.
That's your kid right there, back there.
Yeah.
Dog,
That's
dog?
my
What kind
kid.
of dog?
The dog walking in and around. That's my child.
What kind of dog?
She
A loud, obnoxious dog is what it is.
She's a mutt. I'm not for sure. Her name's Harley Quinn.
Of course it is.
Yeah, she's very much like Harley Quinn. I'm not sure. They told me she was a terrier mix when I adopted her, and she's this tiny cute little lady with these huge big old ears and long legs. She kind of looked like a model. And then now she's like 62 pounds. So she's a terrier mixed with something. I don't know. She's got whiskers and a beard, but she's like 62 pounds. So
Right. Well, that's
Yeah,
that's it. They're
Well,
kids.
I guess it's up to me now. All my kids are grown, so and I was lucky enough to have two boys and a girl. I got twin boys.
And his two of his served in the military as
Wow.
well.
It is,
Thank you. Appreciate your service, and you too, Gary. Appreciate your service.
yeah.
Combat medic.
Oh, you know what? There are times I almost refer to you as Dr. Gary. You know.
Well,
You
all
are
the guys
so
that were in my,
youthful.
they called me Doc. That was what they called me. That and Ghost, because I'm a giant. I'm a giant human being, and you've seen it in person. I'm very quiet when I walk, and Keith has seen this. I've scared the shit out of people just suddenly appearing behind them. And you're like, oh, God damn it!
Stop doing that Batman stuff.
So I got the nickname Ghost because I was so quiet. And it was
So listen. So I have a question.
yeah, man.
What are you guys reading right now? What is current on your reading list? Just give me one or two.
I'm about
Keith?
to get the Harley Quinn. The
Which one? The
new-
Terry one? Which one?
me the new they just released it's just called Harley Quinn. They just released a hardback, and it's just kind of I don't want to say like a retelling of like her, but it's kind of talking about like when she's with Joker. It's just like a more in depth,
Right.
But I just haven't gotten it yet. But that's what I'm about to get. I'm pretty stoked.
Love it.
And the three Joker books. That doesn't come out until June though, right, Keith?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So I've got a while to wait. But
wow. Well, I'm very confusing in that sense. I'm reading all the anniversary editions that they're putting out this year from DC. So the 80th anniversary for Robin, 80th anniversary for Wonder Woman, 80th anniversary for the Flash, and I think for Joker also. So those are the big ones because I like all of the talent. You can bring in all this talent to tell multiple or big stories, and
Right.
I like the fact that you can showcase a lot of talent for one particular company by doing one of these things. And the covers are always amazing anyway. Multiple
Amazing.
covers.
Now this
So
is I don't read comics anymore because I'm too busy working on them. But this is the one I'm working on right now, and I just finished drawing this page yesterday. A lot of violence.
wow.
I'm into Ultra Buy. All good.
This one's called St. Thomas, and it's an ongoing series. This will be a 14-page short story I'm doing.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And thank you.
Beautiful stuff.
Oh.
And the first short story is called Dansen Solas, which means dancing alone.
Mm.
And I'm looking for. I like to name my stories after songs that I liked.
Right.
And
now,
Sting wrote the song.
when you're working, you read. Are you reading any books that are out there now? Or you just have
No, the last thing I read was months back was the new Bane series that Graham and Chuck did. Because they're friends of mine, and I feel compelled to always check out my friends' comic books. And it was super badass. I wish I could draw like Graham. I did not see. He's a graduate of Joe Kubert School. You know who Joe Kubert is, and yeah, I know.
Argent
That's
Rock.
Yeah, exactly. And I found that the guys that graduated from Joe Kubert School are really good comic artists. They do the feathering, they do all this great stuff. Not me. I'm an illustrator. I never went to comic school. I never learned to draw the Marvel way as the book. I bought the book and I'm like, I can't draw like this. I draw very realistically. I'm photorealistic. And people, when I get hired by IDW, I usually get hired to do photoreal. Usually it's a tie-in. Like I worked on the A-Team, stuff that's tied into a movie or a TV show. They tried to get me involved with Hawaii Five-0. I'm really regret that didn't happen. Yeah.
And they're in their like 10th season, right?
Yep. Yeah, but it got canceled. It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they closed shop on that. But
it's CBS is trying to get rid of Alex Kurtzman.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
It's business. It's pure business, and
business.
I think that it's. I like the show. I like Hawaii Five-0. I watch it, and I'm sad that they made that decision, but I understand it. It's business.
If it ain't Jack Lord, it ain't for me.
That was my issue at
go.
first. It's like I don't like the new Magnum PI because it's not Tom Selleck, but I love Jack Lord too. Yeah, man.
Jack Lord. I am doing a project I can talk about.
Yo.
You know Jason Sean Alexander, the artist who does. He was doing Spawn for a while.
Yep.
He's now doing a book called Philadelphia for Image, and Philadelphia is photorealistic, and I'm in it. I'm in the book with Tange, and he and I play father and son vampire detectives.
What?
In Philadelphia. And
I love vampires.
We're trying to hunt down John Adams, who's the head of the vampires in Philadelphia. Philadelphia.
I have a graphic novel that I'm working on that I haven't shown you. I should put you in it because I have other actors in it. Yeah. Del Dye and Julia Dye are in it. They appear as the in-laws of the main character. And John Russell, the main character, is actor Kurt Yeager from Sons of Anarchy. Because he's a friend. He's got an actual amputated leg, but he does all of his own stunts because he's crazy. I've gone bar hopping in Hollywood with him. He's crazy.
No pun intended. Pun intended? What are you talking about?
Yeah, bar hopping.
The one-legged man? What the hell are we talking about here?
I watched him take a chunk out of a wall. Yeah, I know. I'm a straight man this time. You're the comedian, Phil.
Every so often. That's my kid.
Is it? And you said it's called Philadelphia?
Yeah.
And when is this coming out? Because I want to look it up.
Oh, it's out. Image.
Oh, it's out?
Is it?
All right.
Philadelphia. And it's just crazy because it's me. I mean, you look at this, it's me. I mean, me in a suit, me. I won't tell you what happens, but it is pretty gruesome. Pretty gruesome.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah.
Is that a cool feeling? Like
I
being a
love it.
huge comic book person and seeing yourself in a comic?
When they did you have the Smallville comics, right?
Yeah.
And they show me it's me as John Jones with Batman in the same frame.
Is that you on the cover?
Shut the front door. No, that's Tonga. But when you're I had it on my phone. It's no longer on my phone. That was my screensaver. It was just like me as John Jones with the bandoleros. Freaking Batman, right here. What's up, Doc?
Awesome.
It's so awesome. Yeah,
Wow.
so I love comic books. And this is actually, it's me, man. You can see me all over the place. It's crazy.
That's awesome. That's got to be just such a wild feeling.
It is wild. And I just, I'm just like, how many of these can I take home with me? You know?
Yeah, I found this for the comic, and that doesn't look like you, so I'm assuming that's someone else.
That isn't me. That's Tange. That's the guy who plays my son.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all over it. You'll see. But Jason Alexander is a phenomenal artist, and I'm really happy.
Yeah,
to have met him.
he's in the same ballpark as me with doing photorealistic shit.
Yeah, he digs that. That's his thing. So check it out. Check Philadelphia out. But that's one of. I mean, I'm just doing so much. I forget. I was on Bless This Mess a couple of weeks ago with Dax Shepard and Lake Bell, playing Nicole Richie's father, gay father, playing a gay father. Me, I'm gay dad. I don't discriminate.
Wait a minute. I watched that show. Which episode was it?
It's a farm episode. Oh, it's there on the farm. It's when the New York people come to the farm and she tries to get married.
Oh, I haven't watched it. Okay.
Super funny.
Okay. Yeah, I download so I can just sit down and watch them.
Super funny.
And what really sucks, because of what I do, a lot of times I just listen to them and I don't watch. So I'm going to make sure to watch.
Pretty cool. I look like Pharrell with a big old Pharrell hat and long. Yeah, that's cool. I love what I do. Good.
Oh, here we go. One more page from that comic book. This is in Paris. And there's some of the blue pencils. I'll finish inking those. But I'm very fond of this last panel right here.
Nice.
Yeah. I like violence. Not in real life. I like violence in film, TV, and comics, but not in real life.
You know, Gary, you would be the perfect person for a John Wick comic. You know, it would
because of my involvement with because a lot of people know me in the Blade Runner community because I'm the founder of the Blade Runner fan club, and and I'll get there every once in a while. Like somebody will go, "Are you the same one that runs Blade Zone?" I'm like, "I don't run it. I founded it. Somebody else runs it now." And they're like, "Wow, dude!" And I'm in the book, The Making of Blade Runner. They did an interview with me, and it was funny. It was almost 2 pages of interview, and they had to edit out a whole page because I was being funny, but I was so scathing with Star Trek and Star Wars fans with how they dress up in costumes. And I said, because the author was like, "Well, what's the big difference between a Blade Runner fan and Star Wars and Star Trek fans?" I said, beyond the fact that Blade Runner fans have sex, it's hard to spot them. They're usually the person walking in their street clothes because they don't do cosplay. But now that's completely different. In the last 8 years, it changed, and now we have Blade Runner cosplayers all over, and it's annoying because it just changed the dynamic of what Blade Runner was.
Let them live, Gary. Let them live.
I do, Phil. I swear, I've never killed a one of them.
Have you had people dress as you?
Oh yeah, cosplay as you.
Like,
yeah.
I've seen a few John Jones at San Diego. I might have seen one in Smallville, Kansas. Might have seen one there.
Because that's where you and I met, the Smallville con.
Exactly. I think there was one who came up to my table, but not a bunch, not a whole bunch. You know, not a lot of Vandal Savages running around there.
Well, let me ask you. What was it like the very first time you went to San Diego? I mean, what kind of I mean, what was that like to walk in to
And
that?
when was that? When was the first time?
That's what I'm trying to think. I probably went to San Diego for a signing as opposed to a panel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty overwhelming. I mean, maybe 20 years ago.
Wow.
Maybe longer. And it wasn't as crazy, obviously, as it. I started going right before the studios got involved.
Mm-hmm.
Right before it was still a Comic Con, you know, and now it's a Media Con more than anything. But the first time I went, I was signing. I walked the floor. I didn't really see many artists. I'm just trying to envision it in my head. I bought a bunch of books. I made a little bit of money, and I rolled out. And then the next year I came for a project. What was it? I can't remember. I've been so many times for so many different things
Wow.
that it just blends. It kind of blends together. And I don't go much anymore. I don't go unless I have a reason to go. It's tough. It's tough. Tough to find a room. It's tough to drive in. It's tough to drive out. It's tough to walk around.
I found it to be just not worth it. I went because we did Code Word Geronimo for IDW. So Dale Dye and I showed up there, and I was just like, it's a nightmare for somebody like me I'm a severe introvert, and I hate crowds. And it was like, I felt like I couldn't even breathe in that place.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty claustrophobic. But I will go for projects because there's no better place to tout your project or to talk to people who really love your projects than San Diego Comic-Con. There really isn't.
Yeah, I concur with you on that.
Superman Red Sun is the kind of project that you would take to something like San Diego, and
yeah, but I think it's too far in advance of San Diego now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't think we would go now.
Yeah.
They were supposed to go to New York and do that thing in New York, but they canceled that because of the virus. And we did a really nice rollout here at the Pacific Design Center, which was nice. A full house watching the film, and it's a wonderful movie. It really is a wonderful movie.
Well, I mean, Warner Animation does. They do such a great job, and the cast that you have for that is just incredible. And again, I think there is enough interest that Warner Brothers and DC should think about doing a regular animated series, something that you could put on, say, at the 7 or 8 o'clock hour, and just pick from whatever they have. I mean, again, I know I've said this before. I think Metal Men would be an interesting.
I agree.
Show.
Yeah.
For them to do, and even reach back in there and go and get some of the older comic IP stuff, like
Challengers of the Unknown.
I think. See, now that's what I've been on. I keep saying Challengers of the Unknown, but also Blackhawk. Blackhawk has been something that I think Steven Spielberg's been messing with for years, off and on, and that would be an interesting. That would be very interesting to do. But even Dead Man would be awesome.
And I'm sorry, I do not know why we don't have a Sergeant Rock movie yet. I've never understood why.
With The Rock.
Because Arnold was supposed to play him at one point back in the 80s. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
It would have been marvelous as that. They need to spin off Cyborg and do his own show. I think Cyborg needs his own show. We need a new black superhero on. Somebody who can kick ass in Detroit, and his father should go with him.
Well, and you know what? There's a character that I think would be great on that. Would be to have John Henry Irons, because I think as the character, John Henry Irons is the type of character that would look up to Silas.
Yeah.
And treat him as a mentor, and then you have him, do what he eventually does. But I mean.
And because
they
missed that opportunity with the actor playing Jimmy Olsen actually not being Jimmy Olsen, but him, we have that chance now to do that kind of show.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that myself.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
Yeah, they need to really build up the DC universe. They really do.
Oh, Bumblebee would be a great character. I mean, speaking as a person of color, I would like to see Mal and Bumblebee do their thing. Those are great characters. A couple that has just been so in love with each other. They have each other's back. It growing up, seeing that dynamic was important for me, and
interesting.
Those characters are, being a part of the Titans originally, and growing in.
Keith.
Froze. Keith got froze. There it is.
You froze. You need to repeat that last sentence.
Oh, it's just important to see those characters and what they bring to the table.
Those relations.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, also, who didn't tell me what they were? Okay, you told me. Okay, you want to know what I'm reading? You want to know what I'm reading?
Yeah.
I'm super into that kind of retro. DC gave me this unbelievable tome of the Crisis on Infinity Earths. Since we're talking about that, I'm going to reread that, the whole thing, stem to stern. It's going to be amazing because there's so much I forget. It's so intricate and so detailed. But I have the complete. I wish I had it here that I could show it to you. And then I'm reading. I just finished reading Jim Lee's DC Universe Volume 1.
Wow.
So it's beautiful. It's a big old tome. It's really good. And then I just finished last night. And it's an old one, but The Master Race, the Batman The Master Race.
Nice.
You read that one? Amazing. Amazing.
I love
got me so back into it now. I'm so juiced on reading books now.
Have you caught any of the more recent Batman stuff as they've expanded the characters around stuff like the Signal, which is really good. It's better than I thought it would be.
I just booked today. What the hell is it? It's the Capullo Snyder book. It's they only have a few issues, maybe more now that I was gone for a while.
Metal or The Batman Who Laughs or
The Last Night. The Last Night? Is that it? Yeah. I really like it.
Those
guys just rock.
Isn't there the White Knight too?
Probably, but
Joker's good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is where he has Joker's head in a glass jar, and he's carrying him around, and Joker's kind of giving him the business. It's pretty.
That's
cool.
Awesome.
It's pretty cool.
By the way, I wanted to point out something that you were in that I actually really liked watching when I was younger. I was still 18 when it first came out. Was Mr. Merlin?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
One of my best friends, Clark Brandon, was the star of that show. I just talked to him the other day. He was the best man at my wedding.
Wow.
And I'm trying to remember, who did you play on that?
I just played their buddy. I just played it. Here's the weird part.
Because I think you were just called Kid. I don't recall them ever saying your name.
Yeah, I didn't have I did like 2 or 3 episodes of that show, just as like their high school buddy. We had a basketball game in the gym. I was one of those guys, and Clark Brandon was my best friend at the time. And Jonathan Prince and Clark Brandon and I all graduated high school together. Jonathan Prince plays his best friend in the show.
So that's kind of convenient.
That's why I got the job. That's why I got the job. Basically.
That's awesome.
I didn't have to act. I was just playing their best friend.
You're like, I got it.
Right? Yeah, got this. Just like John Jones.
I got it.
But we were all
17
years Well, that leads me to ask another question. Going back to your dad, how much of an impact did that have on your career with Gregory as your dad?
Well, huge in a bunch of different ways. One is the insight to the business that you don't have when you come at it from the outside of the business.
Right.
The other was his work ethic, his integrity. He was a man of incredible integrity. He wasn't going to sing, dance, or tell jokes. That was his thing. I'm going to be good son. Got enough of us singing, dancing, telling jokes. We need these people to take us seriously. And so that's the kind of guy he was. So he gave me an incredible amount of integrity. That hurt me early on with my comedic chops, to be honest with you. Because I didn't find my comedic chops until I was willing to act a fool, which I really wasn't, because I was trying to be so significant and be this good looking guy.
That's the thing about comedy, is you have to be willing to remove the ego to do comedy.
Yeah. You gotta be stupid. You have to be willing to be wrong, to look like a fool.
Yep.
And I wasn't. I was very concerned with this good presentation, and it worked. I mean, it worked. I did a lot of great work, and I look at it and I kind of cringe because I'm like, trying to be too perfect, kind of a thing. It wasn't until I was funny in my off-camera life, but I couldn't take a script and make it work. I didn't understand that timing, and then slowly but surely, I was on set.
Did you take classes on it or anything like that?
I took an improv class with a guy named Harvey Lembeck. Harvey Lembeck was Von Zipper in the Beach Blanket Bingo movies.
I remember him.
He was their erstwhile adversary. Right?
I've talked about him numerous times, and I brought him up to Keith. That he was like one of my favorite character actors.
Great
when
character.
I was a kid.
Did a great turn in Stalag 17.
Oh yeah.
At any rate, he was doing an improv class on the Paramount lot back in the 80s, and my agent at the time, Bernie Corneo, said, "You're funny to me, but you're not funny on TV. You got to go to this guy. You got to get your improv together. You got to work it out." Blah blah blah. And I went in there, and there was everybody from Scott Baio to Ted McGinley to Robin Williams, Rick Dees to a lot of people were in that class. Chris Lemmon, Jack Lemmon's son. And so I really learned.
There's a guy that disappeared.
I don't know where Chris is these days. I don't know. But I learned a lot about what it took to be funny and what you needed to let go of in order to be funny. I always had the impulses. I just sat on them. Right? So I don't sit on it. I don't sit on them anymore. I just let them go. And I don't care if they like it, they don't like it. If I hit the joke, I don't.
Well, I know that you're great at dramatic roles, but on Seinfeld, you nailed that character. Just nailed it. You were so exaggerated as a person. Exactly. It was a perfect spot-on spoof of Johnny Cochran.
Thank you. It was the right time. I was the right guy at the right time and the right character. It all just.
And the first one was the hot coffee episode, as I recall.
That was. Give me one coffee drink on that jury. Well, that's us right there.
And that's the trick to comedy I've learned is you have to. It's the verisimilitude thing, where you have to be serious. You have to take yourself seriously. It's the audience that has to get the joke. Oh, is that what that is? Look at that.
That's awesome.
Wow.
I was wondering what that photo was because I could see it and I'm like, wonder what that is. All right. That is so
amazing.
Cool. Yeah, you were just so funny. And the part is, like I say, you have to take your character seriously. And that's what makes him funny.
Oh, but the funniest characters never know they're funny.
Oh, exactly. And
they're like bad guys. They don't know they're bad.
Yeah, they think they're the hero in their story.
Yeah, I'm saving the world. You guys are the one who's seeing it wrong.
Yep. And once again, it's like because I haven't watched it yet. I'm getting ready to watch it. I'm going to watch it tonight. Bless this mess. I keep watching that show, even though I was annoyed at it at first because it was clearly stolen from Green Acres. Yeah, because they even have the pigs, and I'm like, oh, come on.
Oh, you'll like it though. Come on.
I do. I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it.
Feels on it. You're gonna dig it.
My favorite character is that couple's son. There's something perverse about that kid. It just reminds me of every teenage friend of mine that just couldn't take their minds off of tits.
He's such a good dude. He's such a funny guy. They were all great to work with. I really, really liked working on that show.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it tonight, probably right after this interview. But I guess I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Is there anything we want to talk about before we go, guys?
You just seem like such a great guy. And I love that you're a diehard fan. I know I've said it like 3 times, but it's something that it impresses me when people are, especially with comic books, because some people don't take it seriously. And it's nice that you see like the art behind it and like the complexity behind it. So it's so cool to see you as a fan and like getting like, I don't know, like you kind of getting to fanboy over the fact that you're like, you saw yourself in a comic. Like, I don't know. I think that's really cool. And I like.
Yeah. And it happens all the time. You'll see a celebrity geek out when they meet somebody else that inspired them or, helped them along in their career by being something that they loved and they wanted to aspire to become. And I love that shit. Brittany, you have lagged out.
We lost her?
Brittany.
In the middle, right there.
Right there, right on the
Yeah,
round.
she's right there, just blowing some really good smoke up your butt. And
What I was going to tell her was
Your
that
vibe.
you guys, that one of the reasons I'm this guy. If I were to wake up tomorrow morning and I was hovering 4 feet above my bed, I would look down and go, "So Britt, you're here. Okay, so this is in response to what you're saying, and I really appreciated all of that. But here's the kind of guy I am. Maybe you relate to this. If I were to wake up tomorrow and I'm hovering 4 feet above my bed, and I look down, I would go, I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I knew I was that guy! I knew I had those powers! I knew it!" So that's me.
That's amazing.
And that's what it is, man. And Phil, I want to let you know we really deeply appreciate you joining us. I'm glad we got that technical issue handled.
I'm so sorry.
No, we are not I think Keith and I are probably the most tech savvy of the people we know, and we're idiots. We don't know what we're doing.
Literally, I lost connection because I moved my phone away from the router. So don't feel bad
Your
at
sound
all.
is off.
She has to sit down next to the router. We're so not professional. Yeah.
Feels my
It's like we're professional at what we do for our livings. We're not pros when it comes to doing this.
as professional as we needed to be.
Yeah, this is a casual atmosphere. We're here to just talk, and having met you and had conversations with you, and let people know, Keith and Phil and I are going to be doing something together, which is I'm going to do a pen up of him that'll include his different characters. We just haven't. He's been so busy, and I'm so freaking busy. We haven't gotten around to it yet.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah, it's like it's going to be fun, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I want to bring you into one of my graphic novels. I want to make you the bad guy.
I'd love to be a bad guy.
Yeah, I'm going to make you the bad guy. Lawrence Fishburne's son was initially cast in this book, but he just sort of disappeared. Langston, I don't know if you've ever met him or not.
Never met him.
He's a really nice guy, but he just sort of left the internet. He just disappeared one day.
Really?
And he's in a project that I was hired to work on, and now I'm the senior designer and the storyboard artist for this potential series, and I'm going to be working with people that have been some of your bosses. And I'm not supposed to say who it is or what it's about because I'm under an NDA.
We understand.
But it's going to be fun and exciting, and I definitely want to keep you around after the show here because I think we have some little quick things that we just want to ask you.
Okay.
But thanks for coming, Phil. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's Phil. Phil, I don't know how to point on these damn cameras. And that's Keith over here. And down below me there, that's Britt. And this is Pop Culture Minefield. And we're...
Hey guys, thanks for watching Pop Culture Minefield. If you've enjoyed the show, please remember to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Remember, you can find us at Pop Culture Minefield on both Facebook and Instagram. Thank you again.
Y'all come back now, you hear?